Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a fascinating paradox: how the country famous for the world's best coffee somehow kept the worst for itself. This is the story of Colombian coffee, a tale of a huge industrial past and a quality-first revolution that is changing, well, everything. This quote right here, it really gets to the heart of Colombia's identity on the world stage. For decades, they've done an amazing job building their brand, not on being the biggest coffee producer, but on being the best. It's this reputation for excellence, quality in a cup. But here's the crazy part. That amazing global reputation, it was hiding a pretty strange reality back home. As this producer points out, the paradox for a lot of Colombians was that they were drinking pretty mediocre coffee. Why? Because pretty much all of the premium world-class beans were getting shipped overseas. To really get why that happened, we've got to look at the traditional system, this just industrial machine that was built for massive, massive scale. For years and years, the face of Colombian coffee wasn't even a real farmer. It was a marketing icon, Juan Valdez. And he did a brilliant job representing this unified system that was all about volume, presenting this one single image for what's actually a super diverse coffee landscape. So this focus on volume creates this huge fork in the road right at harvest time. See, on one side, you have the mass system. Workers get paid by the kilo, so the incentive is just to get as much as you can, as fast as you can. Ripe, unripe, it all goes in the bag. But on the other side, you have the artisanal method. And here, perfection is everything. Pickers select each coffee cherry, grano a grano, bean by bean, only when it's absolutely perfect. And that philosophy right there, perfection over payload, that's really the beating heart of this powerful new movement. You have this growing number of independent farmers leading an artisanal comeback, and it all starts with the land itself. One of the biggest secrets to this new wave of coffee? Altitude. It turns out the higher up the farm, the slower the coffee cherry ripens. And that's not a weakness, it's actually a superpower. That extra time lets the bean inside develop all these complex sugars and acids that create an absolutely incredible nuanced flavor. And you can literally taste the results. Now, on the 100-point Specialty Coffee Association scale, anything over 80 is considered specialty grade. So a batch of this Choroso coffee grown at 1950 meters might score a really impressive 87. But get this. Take that exact same coffee variety, move it just 150 meters higher up the mountain, and look what happens. The score jumps to an 88. Now, I know what you're thinking. 1 point, what's the big deal? But in the world of specialty coffee, that is a massive leap. It can mean a huge difference in price, in prestige, and in the complexity you're gonna taste. It's not just about where the coffee grows, though. It's about what grows. These farmers are almost like librarians for coffee genetics. They're curating this amazing diversity of beans, from the super hardy, disease-resistant Castillo to these exotic, prized varieties like this one, Choroso. And the story behind Choroso is just wild. For years, the farmers in this one region, Arao, thought it was their own unique local thing. But then, recent genetic testing revealed its true origins are actually in Ethiopia. And it's related to some of the most famous, most expensive coffees on the planet, like Geisha. Just incredible. Okay, so this obsessive attention to detail, it definitely doesn't stop in the field. The next stage, processing, is where these farmers become part scientist, part artist, all to unlock the bean's absolute maximum potential. A lot of these specialty producers use what's called a washed process. But man, they have turned it into this precise multi-day ritual. It is super involved. After the cherries rest for a day or two, they put them in water to float out any bad beans. Then, after the pulp is removed, the beans go into sealed tanks for what's called an anaerobic fermentation for up to 2 full days. A final wash gets them perfectly clean and ready for drying. So let's talk about that fermentation step because it's so important. This is not about letting things rot. It is a completely controlled process. They're using these helpful microbes to break down that sticky fruit layer around the bean, which lets the bean itself soak up all those amazing sweet and acidic flavors from the cherry it grew in. And after all of that, all that meticulous work from the farm to the fermentation tank, you get to the final step, the roast. And for these producers, a dark, heavy roast is considered un pecado, a sin. It would just burn away all those delicate, unique flavors they worked so hard to build. A medium roast is the way to go, designed to highlight the bean, not hide it. So you gotta wonder, right? This intense focus on quality is amazing, but does it also translate to caring for the environment? Oh, absolutely. The answer is a huge yes. These farmers see the farm as a whole ecosystem. So waste products like the coffee pulp, they get put right back into the earth as natural compost. They're even reforesting with shade trees and using wastewater as an organic herbicide. The whole idea is simple. Nothing goes to waste. And if you want to see just how much of a difference this makes, just look at the water. The traditional washed process, it could use a staggering 40 liters of water for a single kilo of coffee. With these new eco-friendly technologies, they've slashed that number all the way down to just half a liter. That's not just an improvement, that's a revolution. So you put all this together, the focus on altitude, the genetics, the processing, the sustainability, it's all part of what experts are calling a resource-aire, a powerful resurgence of Colombian coffee. And this isn't just happening in a bubble. It's being fueled by what one economist calls a winning formula. You've got this rising global demand for top-tier coffee meeting head-on with all this innovation happening on the ground in productivity and technology. It's the perfect storm. And you know what? It's working. It's attracting a whole new generation. Over the last decade or so, almost 200,000 new farmers have come into the field. But look at this shift in why they're doing it. For 3/4 of them, it's not about just carrying on a family tradition anymore. It's about seizing a modern business opportunity that's built from the ground up around quality. So what this all comes down to is that the story of Colombian coffee is being completely rewritten, from the soil to the roaster, right now. And it shows us this really clear choice between two different paths: the industrial, volume-first past, or the artisanal, quality-driven future. So the next time you brew a cup, the question really is, which part of that story do you want to drink?